Good evening, everyone. I'm Leah Cooper with your JCN News for this Friday, July 12th. The Speaker of the House talks corruption. According to Houston Moultrie, large numbers of cabinet ministers have largely hindered the country's democracy, adding that when the executive branch outweighs the official opposition and all the backbenchers, accountability and transparency goes out the window.
As long as there is no separation of powers, and as long as there is executive control of the legislative branch, as a former chief meteorologist, hurricane forecaster, I forecast and predict that plunder and corruption will continue to be the order of the day. The system produces the result, not the personalities.
If that system isn't corrected, he says, unfortunately, it will continue. Article 72 of the Constitution calls for the cabinet to consist of the Prime Minister and no less than 8 ministers, one of whom is the Attorney General. However, no maximum number is given. Consequently, the Speaker suggests that moving forward, there's a bipartisan approach.
We must work together to sustain and regain ownership of our country and thereby determine our own destiny. We must become devoted in unity to create opportunity by accepting collective responsibility to developing a peaceful and productive society.
The present cabinet consists of the Prime Minister, Deputy Prime Minister, and 15 other cabinet ministers. Sabotage suspected in the case of an out-of-commission chiller in the critical care block of the Princess Margaret Hospital that's forced officials to postpone elective surgeries. Health Minister Dr. Dwayne Sands says the matter's been turned over to the police.
If somebody is found and we have evidence to confirm, then the full strength of the law would be applied. They would be brought before the courts and dealt with appropriately.
The chiller's collapse only 2 years after the critical care block was commissioned, raising serious concerns about how and why the systems failed so quickly. Dr. Sands says a temporary fix should be in place by the end of next week.
Temporary chillers were loaded onto a vessel from Palm Beach, Florida, I believe yesterday, and I'm advised that they should be in New Providence certainly by Monday, at the latest Tuesday, and then transported by trailer to Princess Margaret Hospital. And then it's a matter of making the hard connection to the existing air conditioning system. Once that connection is done, I mean, there's no installation per se because it's going to be on a flatbed truck or trailer.
Those rental chillers come at a cost of $7,000 per month, and that's for the next 5 months. Dr. Sands says these will provide some 250 tons of chilling capacity to last until the permanent $1.5 million chilling systems are commissioned.
Temporary chillers were loaded onto a vessel from Palm Beach, Florida, I believe yesterday, and I'm advised that they should be in New Providence certainly by Monday, at the latest Tuesday, and then transported by trailer to Princess Margaret Hospital. And then it's a matter of making the hard connection to the existing air conditioning system. Once that connection is done, I mean, there's no installation per se because it's going to be on a flatbed truck or trailer.
Former Tourism Minister Obi Wilchkim's of the opinion the new tax regime to be imposed on the gaming industry is more of a penalty. If the government's reasoning, he said, is to help boost revenue, then why not simply increase taxation for casino operators?
There was a time the casino operators were 18%. Now they're below 10%. Well, why don't you put that up? If you want to think, why don't you say, okay, we want to bring you to the level of the gaming houses? And why would that not be a good argument? You know why? It'll be a great argument because, listen, you say tourism is doing very good. So your numbers are up. Isn't this the right time to do it? So why penalize them? No, that's a penalty because they were opposed to it.
Further, Mr. Wilshcombe believes that there is a lack of communication between the government and gaming operators, and that the former doesn't understand how that industry can really help the economy.
What they ought to be doing is sitting with the gaming houses and talking to them about how do I help in building the economy. Make them a part of what you're trying to do. If you need more revenue, well, how can we do that? Do we work with you? Do we allow you as a group to create the lottery? The lottery has a particular distinction because it will allow you then to sell lottery tickets to the 5 million tourists. So your numbers can go up and your earnings can go up, and the government can then set aside funding for education, for national security, for things that are necessary that you're not getting any new revenue. Because let's ask ourselves, where's the new revenue coming from right now?
The former tourism minister is advising the government to work with gaming operators and not penalize them. Opposition leader Philip Davis is a hypocrite, and the party's basing that on what it's termed Mr. Davis's unprecedented campaign to attack any and all signs of progress, rivaled only by his continuing nonsensical litany of lies, falsehoods, and mistruths. The party is mouthing off at Mr. Davis' recent comments about the government's use of ShotSpotter, dismissing the crime-fighting tool as a bad investment. As far as the PLP leader is concerned, the technology did nothing to prevent the mass shooting in Montel Heights earlier this month, firing back the F&M charges that Mr. Davis, who was a key leader in the previous government when the murder rate hit historic annual highs year after year, has now remade himself into the PLP safety patrol, claiming he knows best on crime-fighting measures, even though he failed to introduce or implement them when he held power. The party says data and facts prove Mr. Davis wrong. The Minnis administration says it accepts more work must be done to reduce crime. However, Mr. Davis should know that simply talking at the problem and making false claims for political expediency does nothing to add to the serious efforts to make the country safer. You're watching JCN News. Stay with us.
This segment of the news was brought to you by Alive.